This is the story of how Roger Taylor spent his 77th year looking back at the people who defined his life. His newest solo single has finally settled a long debate among Queen fans. On August 12, 2026, the legendary drummer sat down with host Vernon Kay on BBC Radio 2 to debut a new track titled I See You Now.
By the way, have you listened to the new theme song?
We love it. It's Brandy. She did a remake of the
Aretha Franklin.
This song serves as the lead single for his 7th studio album, which carries the striking title, Violence Insane in a Beautiful World. Columbia Records released the project, and most people expected the high energy of a rock veteran when they tuned in. Instead, they heard a quiet and stripped-back performance that felt different from anything he has released in 50 years. As the piano notes drifted out during the broadcast, listeners realized this was more than just another radio appearance. This was a deeply personal statement from a man who has lived his entire adult life in the spotlight. Taylor used the interview to speak directly about the meaning behind his lyrics, and his explanation was both moving and unexpected. He confirmed that the song is a love letter to his wife, Serena Taylor, who has been his constant companion since they married in 2010. Described the profound feeling of truly understanding another person after decades of walking through life together. His official description of the track called it a tribute to the clarity that only comes from a long-term partnership where the masks are removed. Even with this clear dedication to his wife, the somber mood of the music sparked immediate speculation within the global Queen community. The weight of the piano and his vocal delivery reminded many fans of the era when the band in the privacy of his home studio, working with his longtime collaborator Joshua J. Macrae.
Drop a comment and tell me which trick you are trying first. I want to see if the pine bough bed gets more love than the cowboy bedroll.
To create a specific sound. The partnership with Joshua J. Macrae stretches back to the early 90s, which was a difficult time for the surviving members of Queen. They were trying to find their way after losing Freddie Mercury, and working in his own studio gave Taylor the freedom to be intimate. This lead single moves away from his usual cynical or political themes, focusing instead on a melodic vulnerability that feels almost cinematic. Vernon Kay remarked during the show that the song had a weight that seemed to stop time. The social media reaction from fans suggested they felt that same sense of respect. Although Taylor remained firm about his dedication to Serena, the listeners who have followed him since the 1970s started searching for deeper connections.
I want to prove to them I can crush it.
I ain't come this far just to come this far.
You didn't get in anywhere else, did you?
Right now is the moment to make a statement.
You are forging your own legacy at Hillman.
Let me tell you like I told your mama. You gotta learn how to relax, relate, and release.
The real power of the song comes from the tension between what Taylor said and how the fans emotionally interpreted the music. It is possible for a song to be a genuine gift for a living partner while still carrying the weight of friends who are gone. As a musician who has spent over half a century protecting one of the most important legacies in rock history, Taylor knows his work is viewed through that lens. During his time on Radio 2, he sounded like a man who is comfortable with these different meanings. He seemed to accept that his current happiness is built on the memories that defined him. This radio debut started a new chapter for the veteran drummer, and it showed that his voice remains a powerful force today. Debuting the track on BBC Radio 2 placed the song right at the center of a national conversation about legacy and staying power in the arts.
I want to prove to them I can crush it.
I ain't come this far just to come this far.
You didn't get in anywhere else, did you?
Right now is the moment to make a statement.
You are forging your own legacy at Hillman.
Let me tell you like I told your mama. You gotta learn how to relax, relate, and release.
That, by the way, is exactly 39 years after the original.
39 years.
The greatest spin-offs in the history of television, hands down.
Vernon Kay has supported the Queen family for a long time, and that existing bond with Roger allowed for a conversation that moved past the usual promotional talking points. People listening heard a reflection on a life well lived rather than a standard album announcement, especially when Roger mentioned Serena as the main inspiration for the song. Choosing a somber, piano-led piece as his first single for Columbia Records shows a fearless approach to his solo work, as he is clearly choosing authenticity over whatever might be trending on commercial radio. This decision has fueled the belief that the song is a final synthesis of his most important relationships, and it proves that Roger can still move an audience with just a piano and a lifetime of stories.
This time around, the story's going to focus on the daughter of the alums, Dwayne and Whitley, and it's going to be her journey in and out of the classroom.
My parents have been pushing Hillman since before they knew my name.
The lyrics of I See You Now invite us to look at parallels that stretch back decades starting with the very first lines of the track. When Roger sings about being together through all kinds of weather, he is returning to the theme of enduring loyalty that has defined Queen since the late 80s. This phrasing mirrors the feelings from those final sessions at Mountain Studios in Montreux, where the band members protected one another during a time of extreme pressure. Many fans believe the weather metaphor refers to the relentless media storm that surrounded Freddie Mercury during his final months in 1991. Back then, the tabloid press stayed at the gates of Garden Lodge, forcing the band to close ranks while Freddie raced against time to record his final music.
Cowboys slept out for months at a stretch through every kind of weather in nothing but this, rolling the whole thing up at dawn and lashing it behind the saddle.
By bringing this imagery back in 2026, Roger seems to be acknowledging that his current strength is built on the foundation of those early trials where loyalty was everything. The heart of the song is in the refrain where Roger promises that as forever friends, they will go down laughing together. These words create a direct link to his 1994 solo track called Old Friends, which he wrote as a raw tribute to Freddie just 3 years after he passed away. In that older song, he spoke about the bond between two people who conquered the world from the back of a van, lamenting that they could no longer share their private jokes. Critics have pointed out that this focus on true friendship was a major part of the Happiness album, where he first started to process the silence left by his creative partner. Even though 30 years have passed since those recordings, the way Roger speaks about his grief and his gratitude has remained remarkably consistent.
The old-timers were not tougher than us. They just knew the ground was the enemy, the wind was the thief, and their own body was the furnace.
The promise to go down laughing is especially moving because it captures the defiant spirit that Freddie maintained even as his health failed, which is a quality Roger has always loved most about his friend. Roger has spent much of his solo career looking at the distance between a world in chaos and the quiet safety of home, a perspective that has only deepened as he nears 80. Ever since his first solo record in 1981, his writing has carried a cynical edge regarding international conflict and the difficult nature of maintaining peace. This frustration is center stage on his new project, titled Violence Insane in a Beautiful World, showing that he feels just as much tension today as he did during the height of the Cold War. Within that storm, the track I See You Now acts as a moment of stillness, where a personal bond becomes a shield against the heavy noise of the modern age. He has explored these heavy ideas for 4 decades, from the blunt anger of Nazis, 1994, to the global perspective of foreign sand. By leading this collection with a song about such a deep, personal connection, he is showing exactly where his heart is after 50 years in the spotlight.
I just want to prove to them I can crush it.
I ain't come this far just to come this far.
You didn't get in anywhere else, did you?
Right now is the moment to make a statement.
You are forging your own legacy at Hillman.
Let me tell you like I told your mama. You gotta learn how to relax, relate, and release.
The world might be caught in a cycle of digital distraction and political fighting, but the clarity he finds in a companion allows him to move through the dark without losing himself. The way the lyrics are written suggests that the word you might actually have 2 meanings, referring to his wife while also acknowledging a creative partner who is still there in spirit. Even though the song is dedicated to Serena Taylor, the phrasing is open enough to hold 50 years of brotherhood and the massive ambitions he once shared with Freddie. This blend of the past and the present gives the music a specific weight, working as a modern love song while offering a final, respectful nod to the man who stood beside him on stage for 21 years. When Roger sings about finally seeing someone for who they really are, it fits the understanding of a long marriage just as well as the clarity that comes from missing a friend for decades. This ambiguity does not take away from the tribute to his wife, but instead connects it to the most important friendship of his life. It suggests that the love he feels today is built on everything he learned about loyalty during the most intense years of the Queen era. These lessons from the dressing rooms and studios of the 70s are clearly the same ones that sustain his private life today. Through these small lyrical choices, Roger is connecting his quiet home life to the massive public story that has surrounded him since the mid-70s.
Drop a comment and tell me which trick you are trying first. I want to see if the pine bough bed gets more love than the cowboy bedroll.
When he sings about going down laughing, it provides a moving end to a story that started in a small Kensington market stall where he and Freddie once sold old clothes just to pay their bills. That single line speaks to a history of struggle and triumph that they handled with the specific kind of rock and roll defiance that became Roger's trademark. The song works as a celebration of the woman by his side now, while admitting that he still carries the memory of the man who started the journey with him. This combination of themes makes the track an important piece of work, showing that the strongest bonds are never really broken by time or physical distance. Through these parallels, Roger Taylor shows that his capacity for friendship is the most important part of his long journey, and that his past and present are just different parts of the same song. This release is a significant piece of his legacy, showing a man who has finally found peace with everyone he has loved along the way.
This time around, the story's going to focus on the daughter of the alums, Dwayne and Whitley, and it's going to be her journey in and out of the classroom.
My parents have been pushing Hillman since before they knew my name.
Actor Simon Lupton is the man behind the look of the video, and his presence brings a lot of weight to the project. Most fans recognize him as the creative force who handled the official history of Queen, including the documentaries that defined their story. His deep understanding of how the band should look means that every frame was designed with a clear awareness of the past. Choosing to film the entire performance in stark black and white was a very specific move that calls back to the final footage we have of Freddie Mercury. It specifically mirrors the high contrast look of the video for These Are the Days of Our Lives, which was filmed in May of 1991. That was the last time the world saw Freddie on camera, looking frail but still carrying himself with dignity. By using that same style in 2026, Lupton and Taylor are connecting the present day to that heavy moment in the band's history. Removing the color helps strip away distractions so the viewer can focus entirely on the raw emotion coming through in the performance.
I just want to prove to them I can crush it.
I ain't come this far just to come this far.
You didn't get in anywhere else, did you?
Right now is the moment to make a statement.
You are forging your own legacy at Hillman.
Let me tell you like I told your mama. You gotta learn how to relax, relate, and release.
The video itself feels very private because Roger Taylor performs the entire song completely alone. This creates a sense of isolation, making it feel as if he is singing these words in a quiet room where nobody else can hear him. There are no flashing lights or bandmates to lean on, which is a big shift for a man who spent decades behind massive drum kits in giant stadiums. This introspective look is a rare sight for a rock star, and it highlights the personal nature of his new solo work. The production team used this monochrome look to honor the past while keeping a firm gaze on the present day. It suggests that even though technology has changed, the core of Taylor's identity is still rooted in the values he established with his friends back in the 70s. In the middle of all those shades of gray, there is one bright splash of color that stays on screen the whole time. Taylor is wearing a pair of ruby red high-top sneakers, and director Lupton used that detail to keep the performance grounded. This flash of red acts as a visual anchor to remind everyone that even though the song is about memories, the man singing it is still here in the present. Red has always been associated with the fire of Queen's live shows, but here it is used in a much more personal way.
I just want to prove to them I can crush it.
I ain't come this far just to come this far.
You didn't get in anywhere else, did you?
Right now is the moment to make a statement.
You are forging your own legacy at Hillman.
Let me tell you like I told your mama. You gotta learn how to relax, relate, and release.
It adds a human element to the cinematic visuals and suggests that Taylor still has a strong connection to the vibrant life he has led. The work happening behind the scenes adds another layer of meaning because Serena Taylor served as a co-producer on the video. Her involvement helps bridge the gap between the song's inspiration and its historical context, keeping their marriage at the center of the story. She worked right alongside Lupton to make sure the film respected Roger's past while still celebrating the life they have shared since 2010. This partnership keeps the video from feeling like a sad look backward, turning it instead into a look at how a man's entire life comes together. It is a rare moment where an artist lets his private and public world sit side by side so openly. Every shadow and highlight in the footage serves the dual meaning of the song, making the video a perfect companion to a track that is both a love letter and a piece of history. Before we continue into how this song finally addresses the grief Roger has carried for Freddie Mercury, do you think his decision to involve Serena so deeply in his art helps bridge the gap between his history and his life today?
Drop a comment and tell me which trick you are trying first. I want to see if the pine bough bed gets more love than the cowboy bedroll.
Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you are enjoying this story so far, hitting like and subscribing really helps us keep making content like this. Now, let's carry on. The layered meaning within I See You Now offers a clear answer to the questions fans have asked for decades about how the surviving members of Queen carry their grief forward. The track honors Serena Taylor for the stability she brought to his later life, but it is impossible to separate those emotions from the history Roger shares with Freddie Mercury. Having spent over 50 years protecting the Queen legacy, Roger has reached a point where his personal art is completely inseparable from his memories of the band's iconic frontman. This single proves that at 77 years old, Taylor is finally comfortable acknowledging that his past and present are part of the same continuous story. The connection he shared with Freddie in studios and on global stages has clearly informed the way he values his companions today. This openness offers a rare glimpse into the heart of a musician who uses solo work to process the complexities of fame. That recurring line about being forever friends serves as emotional closure for a partnership that began in a humble Kensington market stall during the late 1960s.
A different world.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, have you listened to the new theme song?
We love it. It's Brandy.
excellent.
She did a remake of the
Aretha Franklin.
Back then, Roger and Freddie were ambitious young men selling vintage clothes and dreaming of stardom, never realizing they were building the foundation of a rock and roll empire. They shared the same struggles and the same hunger for success, forming a bond that was forged long before the world ever knew their names. Hearing Taylor sing about going down laughing carries the weight of every year since those early days in London, turning a simple lyric into a powerful summary of a lifetime. The 2026 tour and this single have had a visible impact on the Queen family, reminding everyone that the connection between these musicians remains strong. Brian May and the Inner Circle often speak about the enduring presence of Freddie in their lives, and this new music from Roger is a moving example of that reality. This limited run of shows across the United Kingdom has allowed Taylor to connect with his audience more personally than the massive stadium tours of the past. By choosing to end the tour at the London Roundhouse, he is paying respect to the very ground where Queen first proved they were a force to be reckoned with. This decision reinforces the idea that, for Roger Taylor, a legacy is not something to be left in a museum, but something to be lived and celebrated every single day. The music he is creating now acts as a bridge between the kid who sold coats in Kensington and the legendary drummer who has seen it all.
The old-timers were not tougher than us. They just knew the ground was the enemy, the wind was the thief, and their own body was the furnace.
It is a rare thing for an artist to maintain such an honest connection to their origins after 5 decades of global success, but Taylor has managed to do exactly that. Before we continue into the legacy Roger Taylor leaves behind with this latest work, I want to know what you believe was the most touching moment of his solo career. Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you are enjoying this story so far, hitting like and subscribing really helps us keep making content like this. Now, let us carry on. The true power of I See You Now lies in the way it looks forward while never forgetting what came before. Roger Taylor continues to see Freddie in every note he plays, whether he is sitting behind a drum kit in a stadium or performing a piano melody in his home studio. At 77 years old, he has found a way to blend his grief and gratitude into a single piece of music that speaks to the universal experience of love and loss. This song is not just about a wife or a friend, but serves as a reminder that our most important relationships never truly end. They simply evolve as we do, remaining as vibrant and clear as they were on the very first day. Through this new album and the tour that follows, Roger Taylor is proving that his story is far from over. He shows that the people we have lost are never truly gone, as long as we see them in the present.
That, by the way, is exactly 39 years after the original.
39
One of
years.
the greatest spin-offs in the history of television, hands down.
He has crafted a final chapter that is as much about the living as it is about the legends, ensuring his music remains a beacon for generations to come. The dual meaning within the song I See You Now marks the final realization of a path Roger Taylor started more than 5 decades ago. He has managed to prove that a single piece of music can celebrate a living partner while still paying respects to those who have passed. By mixing his current love for his wife into a melody that mirrors his years with Freddie Mercury, Taylor has built a work that represents his whole life. For someone who spent half a century protecting the Queen name, his solo art is no longer separate from his memories of the band. This release confirms that at 77 years old, he is finally comfortable showing that his history and his current life are just different parts of the same long story. The connection he had with Freddie is not just a relic from the 20th century, but a living force that shapes every artistic choice he makes today. Hearing the lyrics about being forever friends brings a sense of closure to a partnership that began at a small market stall in Kensington during the late 1960s. That era was defined by 2 young men selling old coats while dreaming of a future they could barely imagine, and that struggle remains the bedrock of Taylor's career.
I just want to prove to them I can crush it.
I ain't come this far just to come this far.
You didn't get in anywhere else, did you?
Right now is the moment to make a statement.
You are forging your own legacy at Hillman.
Let me tell you like I told your mama. You gotta learn how to relax, relate, and release.
When he sings about going down laughing, he is speaking to the spirit of the man who stood by him through the massive rise and the eventual loss of the original Queen lineup. This link to his roots gives the 2026 tour its deep emotional weight, allowing Taylor to visit the same cities and stages that defined his youth while staying grounded in his life today. The impact of this song on the surviving Queen family has been deep, serving as a reminder that their brotherhood is the most vital part of their shared history. The 2026 tour moved from Newcastle in the north to the famous stage of the London Roundhouse, showing an artist who has found peace with his own history. By returning to a venue with such strong ties to the early days of Queen, Taylor was performing a quiet act of remembrance rather than just a standard concert. Music critics and fans have noted that this is his most honest work since the early 90s, showing a man who has processed his grief and carried it with grace. His album, Violence Insane in a Beautiful World, gives the necessary background for this song by showing that he has found a private peace built on the lessons of his past.
The old-timers were not tougher than us. They just knew the ground was the enemy, the wind was the thief, and their own body was the furnace.
It is a rare moment to see a legend of his status reach such a point of total personal and creative clarity. Roger Taylor still sees Freddie Mercury in every note he plays and every line he writes at the age of 77. Whether he is sitting at the drum kit or behind a piano, the memory of his creative brother is a constant presence he no longer tries to hide. This song stands as proof that our strongest bonds are never truly broken, and the people who changed us live on through how we treat others today. Taylor has created a story that honors everyone who walked that path with him, from the cold stalls of Kensington to the largest stadiums in the world. I See You Now is more than just a single, as it serves as the final note of a life defined by incredible loyalty and a passion that never faded.